Hello everyone and welcome to another In Review. My name is James and we don't typically do TV reviews, but this is such a huge TV moment, probably the most anticipated thing we've had since the last season of Game of Thrones, and for a lot of Star Wars fans this was what they were looking forward to. Not at all looking forward to Rise of Skywalker, but looking forward to The Mandalorian. The first episode has arrived on Disney Plus, and this is just going to be a non-spoiler review. I know it's not out for a while in quite a lot of countries, so don't worry, there won't be any spoilers here. If you want to, I'm sure there are other places online that will go into great detail. I don't know why you'd want to. I think there's quite a few things that might surprise you in this first episode, so we're not going to touch on those. For those who don't know, maybe listening to this network for the first time, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Obviously, with this, Fallen Order is out this week. Rise of Skywalker coming out very soon, in just over a month. I kept going back and forth as to whether Rise of Skywalker or this was my more anticipated Star Wars thing of the year. I think at the current moment, having watched the first episode, because of my love for a lot of the characters in Rise of Skywalker, I think this one just edged it. But nevertheless, I was still really looking forward to this first episode of The Mandalorian, and it certainly delivers. A lot of obviously people didn't like The Last Jedi and were hoping this show really gets them back on Star Wars, and I think it will. I think old original trilogy fans will really love the space western sort of feel that it has, and it feels exactly like a western. I've recently watched a Few More Dollars trilogy through, and the parallels between that and the sort of Sergio Leone westerns feels very obvious, and I think that works so well and makes so much sense, and it is a real strength. And for that, I'm going to give credit to Dave Filoni, who obviously has come on to this project working very closely with Jon Favreau, having previously obviously worked with George Lucas himself on the Clone Wars series, as well as then doing Star Wars Rebels, this being his first live action thing, and to have directed the first episode of this series, the first live action thing he has directed, I think obviously shows the faith that Favreau and Lucasfilm had in him, and he's definitely delivers some really interesting characters. You spend most of the time with the Mandalorian, Pedro Pascal. We don't know too much about him still from this first episode. You get little bits of snippets of his backstory, but not much. Obviously something we'll explore as the series continues. But for the character itself, I really like it. I think it's something unique and different that we haven't seen in Star Wars. He is definitely very much a loner sort of character, and someone who doesn't particularly want to talk all the time. You kind of get that sense from him in the trailer, and I think that worried some people. But I think it really works and creates the sort of mystery behind him, something that you want to know more about this sort of silent killer, and I think it works really well in this story. And you're also getting to see this grittier sort of side of Star Wars that we've only seen briefly in films, like alluded to, particularly in A New Hope. You think of the cantina scene and or the Jabba the Hutt stuff, this bounty hunting sort of side of the Star Wars galaxy that we've never particularly gone too hard into. But this first episode is great. It gives you everything you could have wanted. Like I said, it's very western. You get we've still got a few big characters to meet, which I'm excited to see, and I'm sure there'll be twists and turns and some unexpected characters that we'll meet along the way. You get moments with Carl Weathers, obviously the Werner Herzog scene, from the trailer. That's in there and plays. Quite a lot of the trailer is in this first episode. Actually, there's only a few little bits from the trailer that you don't see, of just like different shots of characters who I imagine we'll meet within the next couple of episodes. So there's still a lot for us to look forward to and that we haven't seen yet, and I think for anyone that was worried about Star Wars going forward, I think this really will bring them back. I think this will fill the gap for the people who didn't like The Last Jedi and get them wanting more. It's a really, really strong first episode, particularly for Star Wars fans or anyone that is interested in Star Wars. And if you're not, then it doesn't reference anything particularly that's happened previously in Star Wars. You get mentions of the Empire. This one, obviously, this series being set just after Return of the Jedi. There's a few little nods in there, but nothing particularly major. I think there's some really interesting stuff, and as a pilot itself, it's really strong. If you can, go and watch it now. If you can't, you'll just have to wait and see whenever Disney Plus comes out, wherever you are. But that's it for this in review. If you like this sort of content, please subscribe. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Stitcher. We have a weekly show in case you missed it, where you can find out the week's film news, trailers, headlines. We'll probably talk a little bit more Mandalorian as they go on. Maybe we'll do weekly episode reviews. We'll see how it goes. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Just search Insider Network. We'll be there. You can find me at Plugate28, and we will see you next time. Goodbye.